Matt has both Damian Martinez and Cam Skattebo as better ranked higher in
Love
his
it.
pre-draft running back rankings. Then you made a special request, Jacob, and we like to honor your request, especially after I made the number 1 overall pick reference earlier in the show. And so you sent me an email. You said, can I please, I'm requesting 2 to 3 minutes to do a quick deep dive on Skattebo.
Yeah, Skattebo can do so much. So first, I just want to say career scrimmage yards per game, 135. Ashton Genty's 141. 2024 scrimmage yards per game, 178. Ashton Genty, 196. Like elite producer. And then if you look at the way that he did that, watch the film, and then also if you want to contextualize it with the stats, no matter what your process is, I think you'll come to the conclusion that he is a very, very complete back as a receiver, as a runner. The one clear red flag is his pass protection. I'm curious to hear Matt's take on that. But unlike a lot of college backs, he did some non-shotgun running. Most of these systems are almost exclusively shotgun, but Arizona State did use some under center runs. He was more effective on those than he was on shotgun runs. Arizona State also used a really balanced schematic rushing attack, tons of counters, man and gap concepts, good mix of inside and outside zone runs. That to me is exciting. I think that he can do a lot of different things. I think he's at his best on the man gap runs, which makes sense given his skill set. But he has experience with all of it. I just loved his film. Jump cuts are awesome. Powerful leg drive to work around or through defenders. And he's also, I think, really great at manipulating space, whether that's blockers or just creating angles to beat defenders with deceptive movements prior to contact. He's creative. He has contact balance. I think like in a lot of ways, he's not nearly as athletic as Ashton Genty, but in a lot of ways, in the ways that he wins, it's sort of similar to Genty. He's very, very difficult to tackle. He has a very low center of gravity and very strong legs. And all that is borne out in his avoided tackle rates. 38% career avoided tackle rate for Ashton Genty, 35% for Cam Skattebo. And that only increased as he played better competition. Which I think is noteworthy as well. I just think he's legitimately one of the best rushers in the class, and he offers receiving upside if he's able to get onto the field, which could be a problem because of his pass protecting. But if you just look at his receiving production in college, nearly 1,400 career receiving yards, 605 in his final season. The only 2 other running backs that have been drafted in the NFL since 2017 to have 600 or more receiving yards in a season are Saquon Barkley and Kenneth Gainwell. His career yard per route run rate is 1.84. For reference, Saquon Barkley was 1.96. It's elite territory. Bucky Irving was 1.45. Travion Henderson was 1.21. Skattebo's was 1.84. And then last season, when he had 600 yards, it was 2.27. That was better than any rate Saquon ever had. So to me, he's very complete. And I think he could, any team that he lands on, I think he's going to be able to carve out a role. And I think he's the kind of guy, kind of like Taj Brooks, where a team could just fall in love with him. An offensive line is going to fall in love with him. Coaching staff is going to fall in love with him. My ideal fit is pair him with the Cowboys and let Javonte Williams handle the pass blocking. I think if he gets to a situation like that, he could do what Bucky Irving did, where he just slowly takes over the lead back role. And by the end of the season, he's getting all of the important touches.
So, Matt, this is Jacob perfectly highlighted the question that I wanted to ask. There are people who just absolutely love Cam Skattebo. And then there are people, and like maybe it's just because, like Tyler Shuck, you can't say Cam Skattebo's name the right way if you're reading his name because it doesn't look like what it sounds like. And but why do you think that he is such a polarizing running back prospect?
I think that part of that is that it depends on how people evaluate the game.
Yeah.
So some people are much more superficial in how they evaluate the game, and they may not see the level of skill that he displays. And so I think there's always been a level of superficiality with that. There's also maybe that on a level of maybe big draft level of media that they may also talk to scouts a little bit more to inform their opinions about where these guys are going to go. So their evaluations are more about where this guy's going to get drafted as much as it is about looking at talent. I try to look at an unvarnished look at talent and then focus after the draft of what opportunities are going to look like and help that for fantasy players, because you're not going to learn about football just listening to somebody say, Well, because somebody at NFL.com, who I'm not banging on anybody, they're very talented people and do great work, but they're trying to deliver for you where these guys are going to get drafted. I'm trying to deliver for you who I think is going to be good, and not with the risk management exercise of who owners want to invest the most in. So they may talk to somebody like Cam Skattebo and look at him and or look at talk to coaches or talk to scouts, and scouts may say maybe there's some maturity issues there. Maybe there's some things off the field that we have to be concerned about, and they may be lowering him a little bit, baking that into it. I can't say he has any of that for sure, but I can say the only thing everything that Jacob said, I thought was great analysis, and I wouldn't add anything to his game from that. Anything to add about that other than that as a pass protector, as Jacob led off with, is that if he wants to shorten his career, he can continue doing what he's doing as a pass protector, get concussed a few times, and then he will have a shorter career than what we thought Tua Tagovailoa was about to have, because he does not use his hands. He literally, it's like he comes off the ropes in AEW, WWE, and leads with the head, into the chest. He's like trying to be Earl Campbell against the LA Rams in that iconic run where he lowers his head into the chest of a defender. And he does that repeatedly. He gives up sacks. He gives up pressures. He forces quarterbacks to run for their lives because he's trying to kill people with the front of his helmet than he is trying to do things in a technically sound fashion. If he can fix that, he's at the very least comparable to a David Montgomery type of back. I would say he's even a back who I thought was better than that, but unfortunately had some maturity issues off the field, and how he approached his professionalism of trying to stay on the field was Ontario Smith from way back in the day. He runs a lot like Ontario Smith, low center of gravity, great balance, good quickness, the ability to make people miss, run through them, run over them, run around them, and a good pass receiver. Smith was a terrific back. He just, he had other priorities.
Right.
I'd say higher priorities probably make sense, pun intended.